Hey lots, so it's your boy here, and today what I've got for you is the Formula E Buenos Aires EPrix for you guys. Yep, that's right, I'm doing a review for the first time this year. Finally, after many weeks of no reviews, I'm back with a review for you guys. So yeah, yay! So let's get right into it. So before I start, I'm going to talk about some of the big key talking points of the the weekend. That being Jacques Villeneuve, the biggest one. He was dumped from Venturi by Mike Conway. So yeah, a bit unfortunate. I would love to see Villeneuve stay for the rest of the season, but it is what it is. So yeah. Also another thing as well is that Heifeld returned from his injury. Apparently he had like a hand injury or something like that, which made him miss the Este EPrix. So as a result, he was back at Buenos Aires. So yeah, that was good to see. So yeah. So without further ado, let's go into qualifying. Basically, in qualifying, we saw Senna, who came from his sick Gfinity event with the likes of Martinborough and Prost. It was a very sick event last weekend. It would have been cool if I went, but unfortunately it was only like a week or two until it was on when I noticed it was going on. So yeah, so at the time, you know, things were up in the air in terms of, you know, what to do in terms of going to that event. So yeah. Yeah, back to the crash. He basically crashed at the last part of the circuit. He crashed into the wall quite heavily, which meant that was the end of his session. He would start from the back of the grid. So yeah. Also, another driver who would start from the back as well, a big name, was Bueno, who was having a really good lap. He spun the car round, and that was it. He would start from the back of the grid. So yeah. So that meant that at the end of the groups, that meant that Conway, Sarrazin, Bird, Lucas de Grassi and Prost made it into the Super Pole session to battle out for pole position. So yeah, and in the Super Pole session, we saw Sam Bird really lay down a corker of a lap that would see him onto provisional pole, but there were some quicker guys on a really quick lap. But in the end, it was Sam Bird who took the pole position from Buemi behind, who was only about a tenth off Sam Bird. So a very close qualifying session. And then a 10/100 behind was De Costa in last year's Formula E car. So yeah. Then behind it was Lucas de Grassi, and then afterwards was the two Venturi cars of Sarrazin and Conway. So yeah, so a very interesting session. A lot of mix-ups in the grid, particularly from Buemi starting from the back of the grid. So yeah, and then going into the race itself, it was a good start from Sam Bird. He got a great start away from Nicholas Prost behind. Prost tried to overtake Bird, but it wasn't enough, so Bird took the line into the lead of the race. So yep, there was a bit of argy-bargy going on further down the field, but nothing too dramatic. So yeah. Then afterwards we saw a bit of passing going on, but really the main talking point was at the front between Sam Bird, Prost, De Costa and Lucas de Grassi. They both battled it out for the lead of the race. But then unfortunately De Costa, who was running really comfortably in second place, had an issue. Basically his car just pulled off to the side. I don't know what the problem was, but yeah, he pulled off to the side at the exit of turn 1, and that was the end of his race. And then afterwards the pit stops came, and then we saw some weird tactics going on from Prost. Basically Prost just slowed to a point that he was basically holding up Lucas de Grassi, and basically Lucas was right behind Prost so much that he was basically legit sort of pushing him to his pit lane garage. So yeah, very interesting tactics there from Nicholas Prost there. I don't know whether it was a bit of tactics to help Buemi catch up to Lucas de Grassi, so that Lucas can overtake Buemi can overtake Lucas to help his championship chances, because remember, Buemi and de Grassi are both racing for the championship. They're both 1 and 2 in the championship. So yeah, so So that happened, and then afterwards, as soon as the pit lane cycle was done, the safety car came out. Very good call by the FIA to bring the safety car out after the pit lane cycle, because I think last year there was basically a lot of chaos happening during the pit lane cycle when the safety car came out, and basically just jumped up the field quite a lot. It was good for us, but in terms of drivers it wasn't very good, so yeah, they decided to scrap it. So yeah, for me, I think it was a very interesting call, but I think, to be honest, it would have been nice if they had the safety car out, you know, during the pit lane cycle. To be honest, it would have made the racing a bit more enjoyable, would have mixed up the field quite a lot, so yeah. Then as the safety car came out, it was race on again. It was Sam Bird leading from Lucas Di Grassi in second, and then Buemi third. Also, by the way, Prost, who was running like third, fourth at the time, dropped to like sixth, because basically what happened was that in the pit lane, he actually, he actually slowed down. He actually had a really poor pit stop. I don't know why, to be honest, but he just did, and as a result, he just dropped to sixth. Yeah, and then also he would later have a spin. He basically brake really late, outbrake himself into the runoff section, which would drop him like right down to like 10th or 11th. So yeah, unfortunate for Prost, to be honest. His race sort of backfired on him a bit, but thankfully he helped his teammate in his championship course. So yeah. And then afterwards we saw a three-way battle for the lead of the race. Basically, Di Grassi was really hounding Sam Bird. Sam Bird had a real big, hard job to do, and that was to hold Lucas Di Grassi up for the next 10 laps for him to win the race. But then afterwards, Di Grassi started falling back, and then afterwards he was in the clutches of Buemi, who made his move down the inside, going into turn 1. A very clean and methodical pass for second place. And then afterwards, the pressure really was on between Sam Bird and Buemi, as they both really went for it for the win. Bird trying to keep Buemi behind so that he could take the victory, and Buemi doing everything in his power to overtake Bird so that he could help pull away from Di Grassi in the championship. So yeah, they both gave it absolutely everything. They were both fighting really hard. There was even one point that both of them, one or both of them, even went into got close to hitting the wall there. So yeah, you could tell that both of them was really pushing hard, particularly with Bird, as he had all the pressure mounted on him in the next few laps from Buemi. So yeah. And then at one point, Buemi at one stage had a brilliant run. It was only a few laps to go. Buemi had a beautiful run and was right in prime position to take Bird, but then Bird made a beautiful defensive line going into turn 4, which disabled Buemi to take the lead of the race. So yeah. And then really pretty much after that, that was it. Buemi really had no answer afterwards because of the power that he had to save at the end of the race, which meant that Sam Bird would then come through the final corner to take DS Virgin's first win in Formula E, the Citroen's first win in Formula E. A fantastic, mighty result by Sam Bird and the DS Virgin Racing crew. Thoroughly deserved it. They worked their arse off all season to give them a car that could win a race, and do the exact same thing, hopefully the exact same thing as they did last year. So yeah, so a very beautiful, very controlled, and a very determined drive from Sam Bird there. Probably one of his toughest, if not the toughest race of his life. So yeah. So yeah, and then second was Buemi. Good drive by him. For me, drive of the day, because he came from 18th to second. So good drive by him. Unfortunate for Lucas Di Grassi, a golden opportunity to win the race, but unfortunately didn't have the pace in the end to match Buemi and Bird. So yeah. And then that was about it. So yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, then hit the like button below, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Spoiler boy, I'm out. Peace.
I be cruising with my own mind, never seeing my eyes low. Shades on, hood on, haters being like, oh no. Still, I be repping my veterans, yeah, my mom and dad pushing me to